Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. I'm Sarah. I'm married to Mark, and we have a total of 10 children that we have raised within our home. Our oldest is 28 and our 29, just turned 29, and our youngest is 9 months. So we have quite a range there, and I'm still in the midst of it. But I just wanted to do a video, the 10 things that I would have wanted to know when I first had children. I grew up in a home where my sister, so I grew up with one biological sister, and she was only a year younger than me. And my parents then did adopt later, but it was after I was married, and those kids were already teenagers. So I do have another brother and sister, but I did not grow up in the home with them. So I don't remember my mom ever mommying babies. I did go on to babysit when I was like 11 to 18, and it's just very different. Babysitting, I remember one time where I was babysitting and there was a child that I could not comfort at all. Actually, two different times that I could not comfort at all, and I had to call the parents home because I just could not help those children. I tried lots of different things. And then also just, it's different when like I would go to people's houses, and I remember one family, they would always buy us pizza and we would watch one of the Star Wars movies because that was what their kids wanted to do. So I wasn't having to like keep kids happy. We were doing fun stuff that the parents had planned on. So babysitting is definitely different than your own kids. I always knew I wanted to have kids, but I had planned I was going to have kids and I was going to go back into the workforce when they got older. And I had planned I was going to go to college, I was going to be a teacher, and God had all different plans than I did. And I love where God has placed me now. But all of that to say, I did not go into motherhood understanding a whole lot about babies. I know I had a lot more experience than some people I know, but I don't have the experience like my girls have from watching me raise a large family. So all of that to say, here's what I wish I had known. They're in no particular order, and I have 10 written down, but who knows, I might come up with more. So my first one is prepare to co-sleep. Whether you are planning to co-sleep or not, many people fall asleep with their baby, even if it's accidental. If you are a nursing mom who is planning to sit up and nurse your baby to put them down in their crib, maybe you're a dad who's planning to feed a bottle. I know this is mostly moms that are watching me, but plan a way to safely sleep with your baby if you need to. Because most people, I don't remember the number, I've read an article about it, but it was talking about how many people have slept with their baby, even if that's accidentally falling to sleep with them on the couch. Most people have at some point slept with their baby, and there are some very unsafe ways to sleep with your baby. And so knowing what the safe ways are if you need to sleep with your baby. Maybe it's the middle of the night, the baby has been sick and you just cannot keep your eyes open any longer. How are you going to make sure that you both sleep safe? So there is a thing called the Sleep Safe 7, something like that. If you type that in on Google, it'll tell you, and it talks about how to make sure that you don't have extra pillows on your bed near where the baby's going to be, and that you sleep in certain positions and all of that. Just look at what the safest way would be, even if you never have to use it, knowing how. It's kind of like knowing where the closest hospital is. Even if you're never going to use it, it's good to know. That's how I feel about planning to co-sleep with your child, is knowing how to do it safely. So in the moment, you are able to do that with your child. Again, if you are putting your baby in a bassinet, if you're putting them in a crib, still would be good to know what to do. This might even be because you end up sleeping on your parents' floor some night because, you're there to help with a sick parent or something. Like, you never know what's going to happen. And so looking that information up ahead of time. I just did a video on breastfeeding. I don't know which one's going to come out first, but my next point is your body is made to breastfeed exactly the right amount for your baby. I'm not saying it'd be wrong to get a pump. I'm not saying it's wrong to put milk in the freezer, but know that your body is made by God to do the job of feeding your baby. And I feel that our society really pushes women to fear that they are not going to be able to sustain enough milk for their baby. So please know that your body is meant to do that. Yes, we live in a broken world. Sometimes it doesn't work, but we also have scared women into thinking it can't happen. So your body is made for that. Next, you don't need containers. I say containers in quotes because different people call them different things. You do need a car seat for your baby because legally you need to have your baby in a car seat to transport them anywhere. But just know that you do not need a swing. You do not need a pack and play. You do not need a crib. You don't need any of those things. It's not wrong to have them. But some people fear having a baby because they don't have all this stuff. What you need for a baby is you need diapers and clothes and a way to feed them. So if you are a mom with boobs, you can do that. I hear someone fussing in the other room. They have them, it's okay. But those things are what you need for a baby. You don't need these extras. So I'm not saying that these extras can't be had, but don't think, oh, we could never have a baby because we can't afford all those extras. On that note, this is my next one, the best baby equipment are your arms and the floor. Babies today, raised in America, do not spend enough time on the floor where they are learning to move their bodies. We have this idea that we need to do tummy time with our babies, and I think like we do tummy time with our kids all the time. But I think we have to promote this idea of putting our children on the floor and having tummy time because naturally that used to happen. Before there were all the swings and the bassinets and all of that, moms had a job to do and they would set their baby down and babies learned how to move in their own space. And now, because we always just strap them into a container, they don't know how to move like that. And we have to put this idea of we need to set them on the floor sometimes. Babies thrive on the floor. Yes, you need to have a safe place for them. So if you have dogs or you have other children, you have other animals in the house, that type of thing, you need to make sure the baby's in a safe place. But whether that's with use of a baby gate to keep them safe, or just you being on the floor to keep the others away, babies do need to be down on the ground. And also your arms. Babies need to be held. And even just laying back with a baby like this on your chest, counts as tummy time because they're using their body to try to push up to see what's around them and things like that. But when you're walking around holding the baby, or you have like a baby carrier that they're in, your baby is learning how to control their core. They're working on all those core muscles. They're learning how to work their bodies. So those are your two best equipments that you need: a floor and your arms. And I think everybody probably has those. So next one, attachment is important. Yes. Are you looking for some wipes? You have them over there, I think. Sorry, he came in to change a diaper, so you're going to hear a little baby in the background. So the next point, attachment is very important. Babies have been they have been a part of you for the past 9 months. And as soon as they're born, a lot of people try to push the babies away. They need to be sleeping in their own crib. They need to be able to fall asleep on their own. They need to, be scheduled so that I have time. I can do the things I want to do. That baby is still part of you. They don't even realize that they're separate from you. Like they are, using your body, and I talked about this in my other video, but they are using your body to regulate their own emotions. At the very start, they're even using your body to regulate their heart rate and their temperature and all of those things. When you're holding them, they use less calories trying to regulate their heart rate and their temperature and breathing when you're holding them, because they're feeling it off of you and they can use those calories to be growing. So that's very important. But babies need your attachment. Through the toddler years, they're trying to figure out emotions. So if you see a baby who falls down and kind of looks at mom or dad, but looks at you like, oh, what am I supposed to do here? Of course, if they fall down and start crying right away, maybe they're actually hurt. But if they're kind of like that, oh, what am I supposed to do? They're looking to see how social patterns work. That is something that babies do all the time, or crawling away from their caregiver, mom or dad, and then coming back to check in. Just want to touch you. I want to hug. I want to nurse. And then they go off and play again. That's all good attachment. And that starts right from the time they're born. Babies should be with their moms closely all of the day. So you do what you need to in your home, but it's very important for babies to be with mom. Next one. That I wish someone had taught me before I had kids. mothering is more than you can handle. And God made it that way because it makes us fall on our knees and look to Jesus to help us through the day. We can be trying to get through mothering by ourselves in our own strength. And some days that may look like it's doing okay, but we really can't do anything without the grace of God. My next breath is only because God is choosing to do that. And we are meant to need him in our everyday, moment to moment. How am I getting through this? And this doesn't mean that you're always living in despair. Motherhood is so much fun and so rewarding. But the idea of, God, I don't know what the next step is. I don't know the next thing I'm supposed to teach this child. I don't know how I can get through one more sleepless night. It's supposed to bring us to our knees, and it's supposed to make us cry out to Jesus. And so when you get to those points, don't look at it as utter despair, like, oh, I could never handle this. Say, oh, this is a reminder that I need God to handle this. And that's a good thing. Okay, next point. Talk with your spouse about parenting before you start. I know not everyone might have that ability. So when Mark and I got married, he brought a child from a previous marriage into the marriage who was 6. And so some of the stuff that we did was just because that was already the pattern that had been established by Mark and his ex-wife. At this point, Nathaniel was still visiting his mom and would come, was living with us, but would go visit his mom. And so there were certain things that he had different rules at different houses. And there were certain things that once we had another child that we were raising from a baby, we were able to talk through, here's what we want to do in this stage before we get to the 6-year-old. Because when you have a child brought into your house, who, whether it's through adoption or this like a blended family type thing, there's already patterns of behavior there. And it's easier to start those patterns right from the beginning. So talking a lot about parenting while you're pregnant, even before you get pregnant, like even before marriage, what does parenting look like? And so some of those things might be napping or scheduling your babies, like with their feedings, their nappings, their sleeping, all of that stuff. Discipline. And when I say discipline, you can take that for whatever you want. Just saying no to your child, you can't touch that, is discipline. So just the correction is what I'm talking about. But what's that going to look like in your family? There are some families that very rarely say no to your child. And I'm not saying that that's good. But you need to talk as a couple of what you're going to be doing. Even Mark and I have different opinions on certain things, even all these years later, but being able to talk about those. Do you want to wait until the child has tried to do something and say, no, we're not going to do that? Or do you want to try to teach the child from the very beginning, here's how we do this, before you have to say the no? Every family's different in this. So things to talk about. Education of your child. Are you going to be sending them off to school, or are you going to be teaching them? Because just to tell you, when you first have a baby, you're the one teaching them. Whether that's to use a spoon, whether that's to go potty, you are teaching them right from the very beginning. And yes, if you would like to homeschool, keep watching other videos I have, because I have videos about homeschooling and how you can do it, and you're the best one for your child. But talking about these things before you have kids. More things I wish I had known. You are not assured of how many children you're going to have. And so not preventing children. When Mark and I first got married, we thought that we weren't ready to have children. Mark had a medical condition that we weren't exactly sure about at the time. And we felt it would be best if we prevented children. Well, while we were preventing children, we conceived Virginia. And she's our oldest daughter. She's 21. And I am so happy that God bypassed that birth control that we were doing and gave us a child. And then we decided we would wait to have another child. And we were on birth control. And as soon as we got off the birth control, we immediately got pregnant. I know some people don't have that experience and they deal with infertility. So again, you don't know how many God's going to give you. But we immediately got pregnant when we chose to have another child. And God took that baby. We had a miscarriage. And so I said, no, God, don't give me any kids. And he gave us one. And then I said, okay, God, we're ready. And he took that one. And it just made me realize God is in control. And while I have lost a few children, we've had a few miscarriages, and we've had a stillborn baby. All of those are hard. I don't want someone to think that I'm saying one of those is harder than the other. They're just hard in different ways. Kind of like if you have to say goodbye to, like, if somebody dies in an accident as opposed to a long cancer diagnosis, both of those are hard. Neither is easy. There's just differences to those. And so we lost some babies very, very early, and then we lost a baby at full term. And in all of that, I see so many lessons that God taught me during that I would never wish the circumstance on my worst enemy, but I also would never give back those lessons that God taught us. But you never know if or when you're going to have more children, or when God's going to call them home. So remembering that they're on loan from God, but also just taking every blessing as they come. Because I had times where, you know, we would find out we were pregnant, and I've been super excited about every pregnancy, but sometimes it's like, God, I don't feel like I can handle what I already have, and you're giving us another. And by the time that baby was born, God had it all planned out, and I didn't have to worry about it at all. So yeah, I wish God had just I just wish someone else had told me right from the start that God has this all planned, and not to worry about preventing children or trying to get them in my timing, because God has it all planned out. Next one, again, I don't know how many, I've got 2 more listed. So the next one, be in the moment. Your children are only this little today. Tomorrow they're all going to be older, and you're never going to get this moment back. So making sure that you are in the moment, that it's so easy to start scrolling on your phone and to miss out what's going on around you. Some things you're never going to be able to capture that first again. So their first steps, or the first time they really say mama, or the first smile, or the first time they say I love you. You never know when that's going to happen. It's just going to suddenly surprise you. But also, you're never going to know when it's the last. You're never going to know when it's the last time that they're going to get up in your lap and snuggle. You never know when it's the last time that they're going to grab for your hand to have you help them walk. You're never going to know when it's the last time that they need help washing their hair in the shower. So just being in the moment and thanking God that you got to experience every one of those firsts and lasts that God has given you. I think way too many times we talk about how hard mothering is, which it is hard, but a lot of people equate hard with bad, and hard doesn't mean bad. Hard just means hard. And everybody, there are days, like my mom works at a hospital, and there's days she comes home and she's like, today was really hard. And she can say that, that's fine. I feel like when parents say it, people think, well, you did this to yourself. You brought this on yourself. We need to encourage each other. Yes, it's hard, but God's got you. And it's okay to admit that it's hard. Yeah, that goes back to needing Jesus. Okay, so my last one that I wish someone had told me before I had kids. Breathe. You've got this. God gave you this child. You're the best mother that this baby could have. God put this baby in your family. He knew exactly who you are, your journey, knows exactly the child he's putting in your family, with any strengths and weaknesses they have. If your child has some type of, I don't want to say a birth defect, because God knows exactly who your child are. If your child is different than normal, whatever that means, God knew that he was putting that child in your family, and he knew that you would need to come to him and say, God, I might not understand why you did this. I might not understand how I'm going to be able to take care of this, but I know that you're going to walk through me with this. through this with me. I just said that wrong. I know that every step of the way God's with me, even if I feel like I'm at the end of my rope. And I know that God is sovereign in each little step. So I hope that that was an encouragement today. I just pray for new mamas that are watching this, that you feel excited about the journey that you're on, and that you don't let too many naysayers tell you the scary stories, whether it be about childbirth. By the way, I absolutely love childbirth. I think that the idea of being able to go through labor and birthing a child is like the most amazing thing God could have us do. The idea of, so many people are like, just wait till, they're teenagers, wait till they're toddlers, whatever it is. Just wait until that little one says, I love you, mommy. Just wait until that one brings you a picture that they've made specifically for you. Just wait until they hand you that half-eaten cookie that's all slobbered and they say, I want to share. Those are the things you need to wait for. So I hope that this was an encouragement. I'll see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.